Project traveled to Laramie, Wyoming to conduct interviews with the people of the town. Over the next year, we would return to Laramie several times and conduct over 200 interviews. The play we're about to see is edited from those interviews, as well as journal entries from members of the company and other found texts. Company member Greg Perotti.
My first interview was with Detective Sergeant King of the Laramie Police Department. At the beginning of our interview, he was sat behind his desk, a little something like this. You see, I was born and raised here. My daughter, she now makes the fourth generation of my family here in Laramie. My grandparents moved here in the early 1900s, so we've been here for quite a while. Laramie's a good town, you know, good people, lots of space. You know, all the towns in southern Wyoming are spaced out how they are because of how the railroad came through. You see, it was how far they could go without having to refuel in the water. You see, Wyoming is one of the largest states in the country by area, but it's one of the least populated.
There's so much space between people and towns here, so much time for reflection.
Rebecca Hilliker, head of the theater department at the University of Wyoming.
You have an opportunity to be happy in your life here. I found that people here were happier than in the Midwest where I used to teach because they were happy. They were glad the sun was shining, and it shines a lot here.
Now, what you got is you got your old-time traditional ranger type, you know, people who come down to Laramie to gather supplies and things like that.
Stewardship is one thing all our ancestors taught us. Eileen Angan, rancher. If you don't take care of your land, you ruin it and you lose your living. So you first of all have to take care of your land and do everything you can to improve it.
I love it here.
John O'Connor, limousine driver.
You couldn't put me back in that mess out east. Best thing about it here is the weather, the cold, you know, the wind. You know, they say Wyoming wind will drive a man insane, but it don't bother me. I mean, okay, some of the times it bothers me, but for the most part, it don't.
And then you got your university population.
I moved here after living in a couple of big cities.
Philip Wall, president of the University of Wyoming.
I loved it there, but you have to be out of your mind when your kids out after class. Here in the summertime, I get to play out until past 11 o'clock, and I don't think twice about it.
And then you have your basic Laramie resident.
I moved here from rural Texas. Zachy Solomon, Laramie resident. Now, in Laramie, if you don't know someone, then you will definitely know someone they know. It's like first degree removed at most. I could go to the grocery store and see like 4, 5, 6 people at a time, and I love it because I don't mind people knowing my business. What's my business? My business is basically good.
I like trains too. They don't bother me. Well, okay, some of the times they bother me, but for the most part, they don't. Well, they do go by every 13 minutes up where I live.
Doc actually lives up in Boswell, but everybody in Laramie knows him. Also, he's not actually a doctor.
They used to carry cattle, them trains that is. Now all they carry is diapers and cars.
I grew up in Cody, Wyoming.
Pico Silva, university student.
Laramie's better than where I grew up. I'll give it that.
You know, Laramie's a really nice town. Good people, lots of space. But you know, when that incident happened with that young man, you know, a lot of press came over here. We had a whole media swarm, and I remember one day I took them up to the scene of the crime to the fence, and I remember this one reporter, lady person, I don't know, she came up to me and she asked me,
Well, who was up here anyway? Who found the boy?
and you know, I told her, well, this area is popular for hiking, mountain biking, you know, running, things like that.
Oh. Who in the hell would want to run out of here?
And I'm thinking, this lady just missing the whole point, you know? I mean, the day that we went up there was a real beautiful, beautiful day. I mean, the sky was real clear and crisp. You know, that color of blue that you just can't get right when you can. It's just that sky blue. And the mountains in the background had that little speckling of snow on them, and it was just the perfect day.
enough that you can have your own identity. A town with a strong sense of community, everyone knows everyone. A town with a personality that most larger cities are stripped of. But now, after Matthew, I would say that Laramie is a town defined by an accident, a crime. We've become Waco, we've become Jasper, where a noun, a definition, a sign. And we may be able to get rid of that, but it sure will take a while.
Journal entries from members of the company. Andy Paris.
Boyce has called saying he had an idea for his next theater project, but there was a somberness in his voice. So I asked him what it was all about, and he said he wanted to do a piece on what was happening in Waco.
Stephen Belver. Lee told me the company was thinking of going out to Laramie to conduct interviews, and that they want me to come. But I'm hesitant. I have no real interest in prying into a town's underwriting.
Amanda Ronan.
I have never done anything like this in my life. How do you get people to talk to you? What do you ask?
Moises Kaufman.
The company has agreed that we should go to Laramie for a week to conduct investigations. But I'm a bit afraid of taking 10 people on a trip of this nature. So I made a few safety rules. Nobody works alone, everyone carries a cell phone, and I've made preliminary contacts with Rebecca Hilliker, head of the theater department at the University of Wyoming. She's hosting a party for us our first night in Laramie and has promised to introduce us to some possible interviews.
When I first heard you were thinking of coming here, when you first called me, I just wanted to say you kicked me in the stomach. Why are you doing this to me? But then I thought about it, and I realized that's stupid. You're not doing this to me. And more importantly, I thought about it, and I decided that we just had so much negative closure on this whole thing. And the students really need to talk about it. When this first happened, it just blew up, and all dialogue just stopped. You know, I really love my students because they're honest and they're truthful. And you may not like what they have to say, and you may not like their opinions because they can be very redneck. But they're honest and they're truthful. They're free thinkers. So there's a dynamic there that I didn't have with my students in the Midwest or in North Dakota because there was so much Puritanism that just dictated how people looked at the world that most of the times people didn't have an opinion. You couldn't get them to express an opinion. So I'd rather have opinions that I don't like and have that dynamic in our education. There's a student I think you should talk to. His name is Jedediah Schultz.
I've lived in Wyoming my whole life. The family's been here for generations. When it came time to go to college, my parents they couldn't afford to send me to college, and I wanted to study theater, and I knew that if I was going to go to college, I was going to have to get a scholarship. So they have this competition each year, this Wyoming State High School competition, and I knew that if I didn't take first place in duets, that I was not going to get that scholarship. So I went to the theater department of the university looking for good scenes, and I asked one of the professors, I was like, you know, I need a killer scene. And he was like, well, here you go, this is it. And it was from Angels in America. And I read it, and I knew that I could win best scene if I did a good enough job. Now, when the time came, I told my mom and dad so that they would come to the competition to see me. And you have to understand, my parents go to everything, every ball game, every hockey game, everything I've ever done. And they brought me into their room, and they told me that if I did that scene, that they would not come to the competition to see me, because they believed it was wrong, that homosexuality was wrong. And they felt that strongly about it, that they didn't want to come see their son do probably the most important thing he'd done at that point in his life. And I didn't know what to do. I had never gone against my parents before, so I was kind of worried about it, but I decided to do it. And all I can remember from that day is that when we were done, me and my scene partner, we went up to each other and we shook hands, and there was this standing ovation, just, took first place and we won, and that's how come I can afford to be here at the university, because of that scene. It was one of the best moments of my life. And my parents weren't there. And to this day, that's the one thing that my parents didn't seem to do. And thinking back on it, I think, why did I do it? Why did I go with my parents? Because I'm not gay, so why did I do it? And I guess the only honest answer I can give is that, well, it was such a good scene. It was like the best scene. Do you guys know Mr. Kushner? Maybe you can tell.
Company member Greg Brody. We landed at the Denver airport yesterday morning and made our way over there. You know, as soon as we crossed the Wyoming border, I could have swore that we saw a herd of buffaloes. And I also find it strange that the Wyoming sign said,
Wyoming, like no place on earth.
you know, instead of Wyoming, like no place else on earth.
I stopped at a local inn for a bite to eat, and my waitress said to me,
Hi, my name is Debbie. I was born in 1954 and Kennedy's big back then. So yes, there are a lot of us, but I promise I will not slap you. You mess your elbows on the table.
Today, the company that was there trying to take you was chicken fried. They tried to teach you what chicken fried steak was.
Now, are y'all from Wyoming or just passing through?
we're just passing through.
Company member Barbara Pitts. We arrived in Laramie tonight, just past the Welcome to Laramie sign. Population 26,687. The first thing to greet us was Walmart. In the dark, it could have been any main drag in America, fast food chains, gas stations. But as we passed the downtown area by the railroad tracks, the building still looked like a turn-of-the-century western town. Oh, and as we passed the University Inn, where the amenities such as a heated pool or cable TV were usually toted, it said hate is not a Laramie value.
Greg, you're ready.
I met with two longtime Laramie residents today, Marjorie and Allison Bruce. They're two social workers who got me a thing or two.
Well, Laramie, when Marge was growing up, was mostly rural.
Yeah, it was. I enjoyed it, you know. My kids all had horses.
Laramie has so much acreage that you can keep your cows, your horses, your little chickens, because mostly it's just land, you know.
Yeah, I could run around the house and I all together do the housework while the kids were in school. No, nobody could see me. They got that close.
So that's their problem.
I just don't want to get the expression, but you know, in your all together.
Oh, yeah. Melanie, why were clothes?
Oh, how was he going to use that?
So this was a big ranching town?
Oh, no, not just ranching. Laramie used to be a very big railroad town at one point. You know, before they moved everything to Cheyenne and Green River and Omaha. Now it's just a big drive-through stop for the railroad. Because look, with these, they had such a shop that they could build a complete engine for the roundhouse.
They did. My mom worked there.
Your mom worked in a roundhouse?
She did. Her name was Minnie. You used to, sing that song for her. You know, that song.
What song?
Run, mother, run, house, Minnie, think
Oh, but, Wyoming is just bad in terms of jobs. I mean, you have those big, high, whoopie-doo jobs at the university, but besides that, people mostly just work minimum wage.
Yeah, I've been in the service industry or bartending most of my life. Now, I know everybody in town.
And she does.
And I do. Now that, I'll tell you. Here in Laramie, there's a difference. What it is a class distinction. It's about the well-educated and the ones that are not. Now, the educated don't understand is why the ones that are not don't get educated. That's why I told you before, my kids had to fight because their mother was a bartender. Never mind that. I was the best damn bartender in town.
And she was.
That's not bragging. That's fact.
If it weren't for the university, you'd basically
way or another, as long as they don't bother me. Even if they did, I would just say no thank you. That's pretty much the attitude of most of the Laramie population. They might poke one if they're in a bar, they had been drinking. They might actually smack one in the mouth and then they just walk away. Most of them said that they would just say they don't swing that way. It's not about their business. Laramie is live and let live.
I think Mars has more that she'd be willing to say, but if she doesn't want to, it's just
Where exactly you're going with this story?
I don't know yet, but we're gonna bring it around to Laramie if we get the chance.
Okay then, that part's I won't tell you.
Company member Annie.
Today, for the first time, I met someone who actually knew Matthew Shepard. Trish Staker, owner of a shopping town. She referred to it as that is what was my job. That's why I knew him. It was the first time I've ever heard anyone refer to Matthew as Matt. Did he go by Matt to anybody else?
It was the 2nd of October. I got a call about 10 after 7.
Doc O'Connor.
It was Matthew Shepard. He called me up and said, hey, can you pick me up at the corner of 3rd and Grand? So anyhow, I pull up to the corner and who do I see but Matthew Shepard? And he's this little guy, only about 5'2", and I bet you soaking wet, 97 pounds tops. I mean, the papers said he was 120, but I don't believe it. The papers also said he was 5'5", and this man was definitely 5'2", maybe even 5'1". So, anyhow, I pull up to the corner and he walks up to the window and, you know what, I'm going to go in steps so you can better understand the principle of this man. He walks up to the window and I ask him, are you Matthew Shepard? And he says to me, yeah, I'm Matthew Shepard, but I don't want you to call me Matthew or Mr. Shepard. I don't want you to call me anything. My name's Matt, and I want you to know I'm gay, and we're going to a gay bar. You got any problems with that? And so I say to him, well, how you paying? You see, the fact of the matter is, Laramie doesn't have any gay bars. And for that matter, neither does the state of Wyoming. So this blunt little shit was hiring me to take him down to Fort Collins, Colorado, for a drink. That's about an hour away. Matt was a blunt little shit. All right, he always was. And I liked that about him, because he was straightforward. You know what I'm saying? All right, let me phrase it like this. He may have been gay, but he was straightforward. You see what I'm saying?
I don't know, How does any one person ever tell about another? You should really speak to my sister Romaine, who's a very close friend of Matt.
We never called him Matthew, actually. Most of the time we called him Choo Choo, because we call him Matthew, and then we just called him Choo Choo. And whenever I think of Matthew, I always think of his incredible beaming smile. I mean, he'd walk in and he'd be like, he walked in and he would smile at everybody. He made you feel great. Then I remember this one time in the coffee shop, he'd like to sit on the end seat so he could talk to me while I was working. And if someone was sitting in that seat, well, you could just sit across from them and stare at them. Cold glare, and then once they got so uncomfortable they left, he would claim his seat. But Matthew definitely had a political side to him. That was all his big interest was watching CNN and MSNBC. He was really smart in political affairs, but not so smart on common sense things. So he moves to Laramie to go to school.
Matthew was very shy when he first came in,
John Peacock, Matthew Shepard's academic advisor.
to the point of being somewhat mousy, I'd almost say. He was having some difficulties adjusting, but this was home to him, and he made that quite clear. And so his mousiness, his shyness gave way to a person who was excited about this track he was about to embark on. He had just figured out wanting to work in human rights, how he was going to do that, and when he did, he began to bloom a little bit. He had just started saying, wow, there are opportunities here. I can be something in this world. I can be important.
I did hear from Matthew. about 48 hours before his attack, he told me that he had just joined the gay and lesbian group on campus, and that he was really enjoying it. He was getting ready for Pride Week and whatnot. He was really excited to be there. He was just totally stoked about school.
And in retrospect, I can only say this in retrospect, of course, I think that's where he was heading, towards human rights, which only adds to the irony and tragedy of all of this.
Let me tell you something else, okay? There are more gay people in Wyoming than meet the eye, okay? I know for a fact. Now, they're not the typical, what do you call them nowadays? What do you call gays nowadays? You call them the queens? You call them the queens. Yeah, you call them the queens, all right? They're not the typical run-around fag type. No. The Wyoming queer, they're the ones that throw bail. Hey, jump on horses, bring, kick ass. That type of thing. It's just like I always say, you don't fuck with the Wyoming queer. Because if you fuck with the Wyoming queer, well, they're gonna kick your fucking ass. It's just that simple. But that's not my point here, okay? My point is, I know a lot of gay people in Wyoming. I know a lot of people, period. And I lived up here some odd 40 years, and if I may be frank, I don't think people give a damn one way or another, whether you're gay or straight or what. It's just what I said. It doesn't matter. All right, let me paint you a picture here, okay? Let me paint you a picture. If there's 8 guys and 1 doll in a Wyoming bar, which is often the case here in Laramie, you pause for a second and you think to yourself, who's getting what? Who's getting what? All right? You see what I'm saying? Now, geez, it don't take no big, intelligent brain to figure that one out. You see what I'm saying?
My understanding when I first came here
Catherine Connolly.
is that I was the first out lesbian or gay faculty member on campus. And that was in 1992, so it wasn't that long ago. I was asked in my interview what my husband did, so I came out then. Do you want a funny story? When you first get here as a new faculty member, there's all these things you have to do, and so I was working in my office, and I noticed that this woman called. I was expecting, it was a health insurance phone call, something like that. And so I called her back, and I could hear her. She was at her keyboard, flicking away. I said, is this Kathy Connolly returning your phone call? And she said, oh, it's you. And I thought, this is bizarre. And she said, I hear you're gay. I hear you are. I was like, uh-huh. And she said, I hear you came as a couple. I'm one too. Not a couple, just a person. And so she was a kind of lesbian who knew I was coming, and she wanted to come over and meet me immediately. She later told me that there were other lesbians she knew that wouldn't be seen with me, that I would irreparably take them, that just to be near me would be a problem.
I knew that living here would be hard as a gay man.
Jonas Sloneker.
But I kept telling myself, people should live where they want to live. There'd be times I'd drive down to Denver and go to gay bars, and people would ask me, where are you from? And I'd say, Laramie, Wyoming. And I've met many people from Wyoming, and they'd be like, I don't know how you can live there. I could never live there. Grr. But every once in a while, there'd be a guy, and he'd say, gosh, I really miss it there. I'd love nothing more than to live there. And they'd get this starry-eyed look, and I'm like, if that's where you want to live, then do it. I mean, imagine if more gay people lived in small towns like this. But it's easier said than done, of course.
Today, we're moving from a motel to a Best Western.
Boys is cock.
But I hope it's a better Western.
Amanda Rodich.
Today, we divided up into groups to go to different churches in the community. Me and Moises were given the Baptist church and were greeted by the Reverend himself at the entrance of the chapel. Here's what I remember from his sermon this morning.
My dear brothers and sisters, we are gathered here today to listen to the word of the Lord. Now, there is a simple truth that I tell my colleagues that I'm going to share with you all today. The word is either sufficient or it is not. Scientists tell me that human history, that the world is 5 billion or 6 billion years old. After all, what's a billion years, give or take? The Bible tells me that human history is 6,000 years old. The word is either sufficient or it is not.
The sociology of Western religions.
Stephen Meade Johnson, Unitarian minister.
Dominant religious traditions in this town, Baptist, Mormon, they're everywhere. And not just in Salt Lake, you know, they're all over. Down here, they're like jam on toast.
The Mormon church has a little thing going for it that irritates some people.
Doug Laws, state ecclesiastical minister of the Mormon Church.
And that is that we believe that God still speaks to us today. We don't think that it happened and some folks wrote it in a Bible. God speaks to us, and we believe that. We also believe that the prophet of the church has the authority to receive inspiration and revelation from God.
So the spectrum would be on the left side of the panel. In fact, so far left I'm probably sitting all by myself, is me and the Unitarian Church. You see, Unitarians, by and large, are humanists, which means a great deal of us are atheists. I mean, we don't even know if we're a real religion. And to my right, to his credit, Father Roger, Catholic priest, who did not equivocate at all when this happened. He was the one who held the vigil for Matthew that night.
I was really jolted because when we held the vigil, we wanted to get other ministers involved. So we called some of them, and they were not going to get involved. They were like, we are going to wait and see which way the wind is blowing. And this infuriated me. We are supposed to be leaders for this community. And I thought, well, what's going on here?
So God has set boundaries, and one of our responsibilities is to figure out what is it that God wants. So you study your scriptures, and you turn to your leaders, and you start to figure out where the boundaries are. Now, once you know where the boundaries are, you can start to get a feel for what's out of bounds. A proclamation came out on a family. A family is defined as one woman, one man, and children. That's it. That's a family. That is about as clear as you can state it. There's no sexual deviation in the Mormon church. No leniency. We just think that's out of bounds.
I warn you, you will be mocked. You will be ridiculed for the singularity of your faith. But let the Bible be your guide. It is in there. It is all in there.
You see, Christian pastors, at least many of the conservative ones, like to teach the world that it says here in the Bible. And many Americans believe, and they do, that the Bible is the Word of God. And I mean, how are you going to fight that?
I am a biblicist, which means the Bible doesn't need me to be true. The Bible is true whether I believe in it or not. The Word is either sufficient or it is not.
I arrived in Laramie, Wyoming on September 15th. When I arrived here, I saw a tumbleweed pass me by, a cement factory, and I just thought to myself, what the hell am I doing in Laramie, Wyoming? And then 3 weeks later, I figured out what the hell I'm doing in Laramie, Wyoming.
I had breakfast this morning with a university student named Vidala. She's an Islamic feminist who likes to do things in her own way.
I've lived in Laramie since I was 4. Yeah, so my parents are from Bangladesh. So 2 years ago, because I'm Muslim, I decided to start wearing a scarf. That's really changed my life in Laramie. Yeah, like, people say things to me like, why do you have to wear that thing on your head? Like, when I go to the grocery store, I'm not looking to give people Islam 101, you know what I mean? Yeah, so anyways, I'll be like, well, it's part of my religion. And they'll be like,
part because they'll be like, I know it's part of your religion, but why? And it's, how am I supposed to go into the whole doctrine of physical modesty and my own spiritual relationship with the Lord while I'm standing there with my pop and chips? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's so unreal to me that the group from New York could be writing a play about Laramie. And then I was picturing, like, you're going to be in a play about town. You're going to be on stage in New York, and you're going to be acting like you're us. That's so weird.
Hello? Hi? Yeah, my name is Amanda Gronich, and I'm here in Laramie with the theater company. I went to the Reverend, your husband's church, on Sunday, and I was extremely interested in hearing some of his thoughts on recent events.
Well, I don't think he'll want to talk to you. He has very biblical views on homosexuality. He doesn't condone that kind of violence, but he doesn't condone that kind of lifestyle. Do you know what I mean? He was just bombarded with press after this happened, and the media has just been terrible about the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, I completely understand.
It really was terrible. I really hope this all just goes away.
Well, do you think I could call back later and speak with your husband just briefly?
Well, all right. You can call him back tonight at 9 o'clock.
Thank you so much. I will do that.
Today, Barbara and I went to the Fireside Bar, which is a fun place to go see.
The Fireside definitely feels like a college bar with a couple of pool tables and a stage for karaoke night. Still, a few regulars in the late afternoon were hardly the college crowd.
The first person we talked to was Matt Nicholson. Joe. My great-great-grandfather moved here in 1862. He owned Laramie's first opera house. It's called Old Roofront. And in 1870, Louisa Grandma Slim, she casted the first woman's ballot in any re-election in the world. That's why Wyoming is the equality state. And what I want to do is reestablish my bar business as Old Roofront Opera House and Good Time Emporium. You know, I want to have a restaurant, I want to have a gift shop, I want to have a pool hall and do all this shit. You know, every night's ladies' night. So the Fireside is the first step towards Old Roofront Opera House and Good Time Emporium.
What about the night Matthew Shepard here?
Oh, right. Well, we had karaoke that night, 20 to 30 people here. Matthew came in, sitting right where you are, you know, just hanging out. And, I mean, if you want to talk to someone, I suggest you talk to Matt Galloway. He was the kid that was bartending that night. You have to meet him. His character stands for itself. Hey! Is Galloway bartending tonight?
All right, I'm gonna make this brief, quick, but it will be everything, all right? Facts, just the facts. All right, so here we go. 10 o'clock, Tuesday night, I clock in, normal time. About 10:30, Matthew Shepard shows up. Sits down, alone, orders a Heineken.
Bill LaBrie, friend of Matthew Shepard.
Matt likes to drink Heineken and nothing else. Heineken, even though you have to pay $9.50 for a six-pack, he always drinks the 6 beer.
So what can I tell you about that? Well, if you had 100 customers just like him, it'd be the most perfect bar I've ever been to, okay? And it had nothing to do with sexual orientation, you know, just absolute mannerisms. Manners, politeness, intelligence, taking care of me, as in tips, conversation, dress nice, clean cut. You know, some people, they just come in, please, thank you, you know, offer conversation because of their intellect. But Matt, he kicks it there. Didn't seem like he had any worries or he was waiting for anybody, just enjoying his drink and the company around. Now, about 11:45, 11:30, 11:45, Aaron McKinney and Russell Henderson come in. I didn't know their names then. They're the accused. They're the perps. They're the accused. They walk up just very stone-faced, you know, like dirty, grungy, rude, you know, giddy, that type of thing. They walk up and, as you know, they ordered a pitcher with dimes and quarters, which, I mean, is something you just don't forget. I mean, $5.50 in dimes and quarters? That's a freaking nightmare. Now, Henderson and McKinney, they didn't seem intoxicated at all. They just ordered their beer and took the pitcher back there with the pool room and kept it themselves. Now, about a half an hour later, I see them walking around the bar, no beer, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm not gonna ask them if they want another drink, because clearly they just paid for a pitcher in dimes and quarters. I'm pretty sure they don't have any more money.
Romaine Patterson. Money meant nothing to Matthew because he came from a lot of it. He'd hand over his wallet in like 2 seconds because money meant nothing. His shoes might have meant something. And they can say that it was a robbery, but I don't believe it. No, not for even an iota of a second.
So a few moments later, I look over and Aaron and Russell had been talking to Matthew Shepard.
Aaron said that some guy walked up to him and said that he was gay and wanted to get with us.
Here's some prize. Aaron McKinney's girlfriend.
And he got angry with it and told him that he was straight and wanted nothing to do with him and walked away. He said that's when him and Russ went to the bathroom and decided to pretend that they were gay and get him in the truck and rob him.
All right, no, they say that Matt came onto them, that he approached them, and I 1,000% completely disrepute that statement. I refute it. I'm going to give you 2 reasons why, all right? 1, character reference. Why would he approach them? Why them? He wasn't approaching anyone else in the bar. They say he's gay, he's a flaming gay. He's just going to come on to people like that? Bullshit. He never came on to me. I mean, hello? He came on to them. I don't believe it. 2, territorialism is the word I'll use for this. And that's that Matt was sitting at the bar all night, and Aaron and Russell were back there in the pool area. Upon their first interaction, Aaron and Russell were talking to Matt at the bar, at the same place he had been all night. So, who approached who by that?
Matt was the kind of person, like, he'd never not talk to someone for any reason. Someone came over to him and struck up a conversation, and he'd say, hi, hello, how's it going? He was outgoing and friendly, and he had no problem starting up a conversation with anybody.
Matt did feel lonely a lot of times. Me knowing that and how gullible he could be, he probably walked right into it. The fact that he was at the bar alone with no friends made him that much more vulnerable.
So, basically, what I'm testifying to is, because, you know, I'm kind of the key witness in all this, basically, what I'm saying is that I saw Matthew leave. I saw Matthew leave with 2 other individuals. I didn't see their faces, but I saw the back of their heads. And at that same time, McKinney and Henderson were nowhere to be seen. So, you do the math.
Actually, I think the DJ was the last one to talk to him on his way out that night. He gave him a cigarette or something. His name is Shadow. I was the last person to talk to Matt before I left the fireside. I was bullshitting around to my shit, and he's like, hey, Shadow, da-da-da, and like, what, man, you getting ready to leave? And he's like, yeah, man, and this and that, and it seems like we got this. And they stood outside, and you could see, you know, they were looking over to him, he was looking back at them, and I stood and talked to Matt for like a good 10 minutes. And you see the guys were leaving, you see them getting like worried, you know, like anxious to leave and shit. So when they took off, I seen it when they took off. It was a black truck, it was a small truck, and the 3 of them sat in the front, Matt sat in the middle, and I didn't think nothing of it, you know? I didn't figure the guys was going to be like that.
A friend of Aaron McKinney.
Oh, I haven't heard in a long time. Aaron was a good kid. I liked Aaron. That's why I was so shocked when I heard this, because I was like, I know he was living out far at his trailer house, is what he told me, with his girl. They just started dating last summer, and they must have gotten pregnant as soon as they started dating, because, you know, they had a kid. And that's just the kind of person that Aaron was. He was only 21 years old, but he's running around with a kid. And he was always wearing all those big clothes like Tommy Hilfiger, Polo, Gucci. And at the time that I knew him, he was just trying to, you know, just wanting to fit in, acting tough, acting cool. But you know, somebody can call him out on it, and he would just run away like he was some scared little kid.
Sherry and then some.
Russell was just so sweet. He was the Eagle Scout, yeah. I don't know, his personality was just sweet. So, yeah, of course it doesn't make sense to me. And I guess people snap or whatever, but that wasn't Russell. And it's not like I had a personal relationship with the kid, okay? I was just his landlord. And we did work together at the chuck wagon, too. You know, I remember we were at a Christmas party once, and he was just so drunk out of his mind. But we all were, you know? It was pretty much just like, whoop, whoop, party time, you know what I'm saying? But he wasn't belligerent or anything. He was still the same little meek Russell. I even remember he came up to me that night, and he was like, "Hey, Sherry, when we have a chance, can I have a dance?" Which, you know, we never did get around to doing that, but it's so different now, because I want to shake you, you know what I mean? What were you thinking? What the hell were you thinking?
I've been up to the Spence 4 times now. I've taken visitors. The place has become a pilgrimage site. And clearly that's a very powerful, personal thing to experience. I mean, it's so stark and empty there. You just can't help but think of Matthew sitting up there alone for 18 hours in nearly freezing temperatures. And view there, it's so isolated. And there's just this thought of God. Oh God, my God, why have you forsaken me? That thought, it just comes to mind.
Company member Greg Curley.
Phil Labrie, a friend of Matthew's, took us up to the fence the other day. I broke down the moment I saw him. I feel such a strong kinship with this man. On the way back, I made sure that nobody saw me crying.
Please on the couch.
Greg was crying on the way back. I couldn't quite bring myself to tears, but I felt the same way. I had an interview this afternoon with Eric Rifles. He's the boy who found Matthew out there at the fence. I don't think I'm up for it right now. I'll see if someone else can do it.
Well, I took off my bicycle about 5 p.m. on Wednesday from my room. I just kind of felt like going for a ride. So I went up to the top of Cactus Canyon. Not super familiar with that area, so on my way back down, I didn't know where I was going. I was just sort of thinking the way to go. Now, it just makes me think that God wanted me to find it, because there was no way I was going to go that way. So I was in some deep-ass sand. I wanted to turn back around, but for some reason, I kept going. As I went along, there's this rock on the ground. I just drilled it. I went over the handlebars and I ended up on the ground. As I was dusting myself off, I looked around and I noticed something, which ended up to be Matt. And he was just lying there by a fence. And I just thought it was a scarecrow. I mean, Halloween's coming up. I thought it was a Halloween gag, so I didn't think too much of it. I walked my bike around the fence. I got closer, and I noticed his hair. And that was a major key to me. Noticing it was a human being. It was his hair. Because I just thought it was a dummy. I even noticed the chest moving up and down. I still just thought it was a dummy. Some kind of mechanism.
shining. Lying on his back, tied to the bottom end of a pole. I did the best I could. The gentleman that was on the ground, Matthew Shepard, he was covered in dry blood all over his face. There was dry blood underneath him, and he was barely breathing. He was doing the best he could. I was going to breathe for him, and I couldn't get his mouth open. His mouth just wouldn't open for me. He was, like I said, covered, partially in blood and dried blood all over his face. And the only place where there wasn't any blood on him, on his face, was what appeared to be where he had been crying down his face. And his head was distorted. You know, it did not look normal. He appeared to have a harsh head wound.
I was working in the emergency room the night Matthew Shepard was brought in. I don't think any of us could remember seeing a patient in that condition for a long time. Those of us who worked in big city hospitals have seen this, but we have some people here who have not worked in big city hospitals, and it's not something you expect here. Well, you expect it. You expect to see this kind of injuries from a car going down a hill at 80 miles an hour. You expect to see gross injuries from something like that, this horrendous, terrible thing. But you don't expect to see that from someone doing this to another person. The ambulance report said it was a beating, so we knew.
There was nothing I could do. There wasn't anything I could have done to help him, because I would have done it. There was nothing. And I'm shouting at the top of my lungs trying to get something out of him, like, hey, wake up below! He didn't move. He didn't flinch. He didn't do anything.
He was tied to the fence. His hands were thumbs out in what we call cuffing position, what we use to handcuff people. He was tied with a real thin white rope that was wrapped around the bottom of the pole about 4 inches above the ground. His shoes were missing. He was tied extremely tight, so I had to use my boot knife and slip it between his wrists and the rope. I had to be extremely careful not to harm Matthew any further.
Your first thought is, well, certainly you'd like to think it's somebody from out of town who comes through and beats somebody. I mean, things like this happen, you know? Shit happens, and it happens in Laramie, but when there's been someone who's been beaten repeatedly, well, certainly this is something that offends us. I think that's a good word. It offends us.
He was tied so tight. Finally, I got my knife in there. I'm sorry. We rolled him onto his left side, but when we did that, he quit breathing. So immediately we got him back on his back, and that was just enough of an adjustment. I had enough room there to cut him free. And I had seen the EMS unit trying to get to the location. So once the ambulance got there, we put a neck collar on him, placed him on a backboard, scooted him out from underneath the fence, and then Rob drove the ambulance to Ivinson Hospital's emergency room.
Now the strange thing is, 20 minutes before Matthew came in, Aaron McKinney was brought in by his girlfriend. Now, I guess he had got into a fight later on that night back in town. So I'm working on Aaron, and the ambulance comes in with Matthew, and at this point, I don't know there's any connection at all. So I tell Aaron to wait while I go to treat Matthew. So that's Aaron in one room of the ER, and Matthew in another room, 2 doors down. Now, obvious that his care was beyond our capabilities. Called the neurosurgeon at Cedar Valley, and he was on the road in an hour and 15 minutes, I think.
They showed me a picture. A couple of days later, I saw a picture of Matthew. I would have never recognized him.
And 2 days later, I found out the connection, and I was very struck. They were two kids. They were both my patients, and they were two kids. I took care of both of them, of both their bodies, and for a moment, I wondered if this is how God feels, looking down at us, how we are all his kids, our bodies, our souls, and I felt a great deal of compassion for both of them.
This is John Hancock, Matthew Piscataway. Well, the news reports start trickling in on Thursday, but no names were mentioned. The brutality of the crime was not mentioned. All that was mentioned was that there was a man, a Laramie man, found beaten out on the prairie, basically. Later that evening, the name was mentioned, and it was like, I can't, that's not the Matthew Shepard I know. That's not my student. That's not this person I've been meeting with. I was in the coffee shop,
Romaine Patterson.
and someone pulled me aside and said, I don't know much, but they say that there's been a young man who's been beaten in Laramie. And they said that his name was Matthew Shepard. So I just called up my sister Trish and I said, tell me anything you know. I need to know everything you know because I know nothing.
So I'm speaking with my sister on the phone, and the whole story comes up on Channel 5 News, and it's just like, boom.
And the news reports kept rolling in. Young University of Wyoming student, his age, his description, it's like, oh my God.
And I had to tell Romaine, yes, it was your friend. It was Matthew.
Well, I'll tell you what's overwhelming.
Matt Galloway.
Friday morning, I find out. I go to class, get out, boom. There it is, in the branding iron. So immediately, I go to the nearest newsstand to pick up a Laramie boomerang because I want more details. And before I can even open the paper, my boss calls me. He's like,
Did you hear about what happened?
I'm like, yeah.
Was he in the bar that Tuesday night?
I say, yeah, he was.
You need to get down to the bar right now. We gotta talk about this. We gotta discuss what's going to go on.
By this point, I was starting to get upset. But still, the severity wasn't out yet.
It was Thursday afternoon.
On Stacy at Cedar Valley Hospital.
I got a call. You've got this kid from Wyoming, and it looks like he may have been the victim of a hate crime. There are reporters here asking questions, and so we decided that we needed one spokesperson. As the CEO, I'll do that, and we'll try to keep you informed as new information comes through.
And then I watched the 10 o'clock news that night, where they started getting into the nature and seriousness of it.
So I'm on the phone with Mickelson, and he's like,
We need to go to the arraignment to identify these guys and make sure that these guys were in the bar.
so we go to the arraignment.
Our focus today turns to Laramie, Wyoming, and the Albany County Courthouse, where Aaron J. McKinney and Russ Larson Henderson are being charged for the brutal killing of Matthew Shepard, a gay University of Wyoming.
The arraignment was on Friday, right around lunchtime, and I said, I'm just going. I just took off. It's right down the street, so I walked a few blocks and I went. Has anybody told you about the arraignment? There were probably 100 people from town, and probably not any news media by that point. A lot more of the details had come out. In fact, the perpetrators were kids, local kids that everyone who's from around here has some kind of relationship to. And what everyone was really, I think, waiting on pins and needles for, what would happen when the perpetrators walked in. And what happened? There were 200 people in the room. They walked in a complete orange jumpsuits and shackles, and you could have heard a pin drop. It was incredibly solemn. I mean, lots of people were teary at this point. Then the judge came in to do a reading. There was a reading of the evidence the prosecution had. It's just it's a statement of the facts. And the reading of the facts was,
The essential facts are that the defendants, Aaron James McKinney and Russell Arthur Henderson, met Matthew Shepard at the Fireside Bar. And after Mr. Shepard confided in them that he was gay, the subjects agreed amongst themselves to deceive Mr. Shepard into leaving with them in their vehicle to a remote area. Upon arrival at said area, the defendants would tie Matthew Shepard to a buck fence and then rob him, torture him, and beat him. Both defendants were later contacted by members of the Laramie Police Department, who observed the inside of the cab of their pickup truck to contain a wallet and a pair of black patent leather boots believed to have belonged to the victim, Matthew Shepard.
I don't think there was any person left in that courtroom who wasn't crying by the end of it. I mean, it lasted 5 minutes, but it kept on getting more and more horrific, ending with
7 defendants left to the victim, begging for his life.
Sergeant Haig.
I don't think a lot of people understand, even I don't understand how someone could do something like this. I mean, Laramie has one of the most vocal populations of gay people in the state. You know, it's live and let live.
Laramie resident Jeffrey Lockwood.
My secret hope was that they would move somewhere else. And of course, we can keep that distance. We don't grow children like that here. Well, it's pretty clear that we do grow children like that here.
So that was the arraignment, and my response was pretty catatonic. Not eating, not sleeping. Don't leave me alone right now.
More and more details came in about the sheer brutality, motivations, how this happened. And then, quite frankly, the media descended, and there was no time to reflect on it anymore.
Laramie, all of us to be a gay in a cowboy country.
Yeah, it was huge, and I'm talking herds, hundreds of reporters, which makes a huge dent in this town's population. There were reporters everywhere, news trucks everywhere on campus, everywhere on town. And we're not used to that type of attention to begin with. We're not used to that kind of exposure.
Tiffany Edwards, local reporter.
These people are predators. Like, this one journalist actually caught one of the judges in the bathroom at the urinal and was like asking questions. And the judge was like, "Excuse me, can I please have some privacy?" And the journalist was like offended that he asked for privacy. I mean, this is not how journalism started, like Gutenberg fast.
I'll tell you what, hard copy, they came and taped me. So I'll tell you what I did. I taped them right back at the exact same time. I have every single word I ever said on tape. So if they try any funny business, they better watch their fucking ass.
Wyoming Governor Jim Gary, the first term Republican up for re-election.
I am outraged and sickened by the heinous crimes committed on Matthew Shepard. I extend my most heartfelt sympathies to the family.
Governor, you haven't pushed for hate crime legislation in the past.
I urge the people of Wyoming against overreacting in a way that gives one group special rights over others. We will wait and see if the vicious beating and torture of Matthew Shepard was an act motivated by hate.
You've got those news segments where in the background they have this graphic that says "Murder in Wyoming," and Wyoming's red, as if it's covered in blood, and it's just the sensationalism. You know, it's just over at the station, we were all thinking, just wait a minute. You know, we got those guys in jail in less than a day. I think that's pretty damn good.
And for us to be more or less maligned
I really don't need him.
that we are not a good community, and we are. The majority of the people here are good people.
You get bad apples once in a while, and I think the gay community used that to exploit us.
Bill McKinney, father of one of the accused. Had this been a heterosexual these two boys decided to take out and rob, this would have never made the national news. Now, my boy is guilty before he's even had a trial.
Look, I do think that the media made people accountable because it made people think. Because people were sitting in their house and watching TV and listening CNN and watching Dan Redder and going like, Jesus Christ, well, that's not how it is here. How is it here then?
Matthew Shepard, medical update, 3 p.m., Saturday, October 10th.
As I looked out into the crowd, where there had been 2 or 3 reporters, it had to be 10 to 15 still photographers, another 20 or 30 reporters, and 10 video cameras. The family had just arrived. I had barely introduced myself. And in that moment, all I could think was, what am I going to do? What's legal? Matthew Shepard was admitted in critical condition approximately 9:15 p.m. October 7th. When he arrived, he was unresponsive and breathing support was being provided. Matthew's major injuries upon arrival consisted of hypothermia and a fracture from behind the head to in front of the right ear. There were also several lacerations on his head, face, and neck. Matthew's temperature has fluctuated over the last 24 hours, ranging between 98 and 106 degrees. We have had difficulty controlling this temperature. Matthew's parents arrived at 7 p.m. October 9th and are now at his bedside. The following is a statement from them. First of all, we want to thank the American public for their kind thoughts about Matthew and their fond wishes for his speedy recovery. We appreciate your prayers and goodwill, and we are certain that Matthew would appreciate them as well. We also have a special request for the members of the media. Matthew is very much in need of his family at this time, so we ask that you respect our privacy as well as our sons, so we can concentrate all of our thoughts, efforts, and love on Matthew. Thank you.
Both Eric McKinney and Russell Henderson pled not guilty to the charges. The Gilchrist Marcy Paisley and Kristen Price also pled not guilty after being charged successfully after the fact. On our next trip, we spoke with detectives about 3 of the Laramie County Sheriff's Department.
I guess the thing that bothered you the most was going to Cooter Valley. And the thing that bothered you the most was seeing him, touching him. As a homicide detective, you look at bodies. But this poor boy is just sitting here, fighting all his life, trying to make it. Just wanted it so by the book, you know?
I keep seeing that picture in my head when I found it.
Aaron Draco.
And it's not pleasant whatsoever. I don't want it to be there. I want to, like, get it out. That's the biggest part for me. That I was the one who found it. And the big question with me, like, with my religion, is why did God want me to find him?
I know how to take care of myself, and I was irrationally terrified.
Catherine Connolly.
So what that means is not letting my 12-year-old son walk the streets. Seeing a truck do a U-turn and thinking it's coming after me, having to stop because I'm shaking so bad, and in fact, the pickup truck did not come after me, but my reaction was to have my heart in my mouth.
Ultimately, no matter how you dice it, I did have an opportunity.
Matt Fowler.
If I had amazing hindsight of 2020 to have stopped what had happened, I just keep thinking, I should have noticed. Those guys should not have been talking to that guy. I shouldn't have kept my head down for those 20 seconds while I was washing the dishes. Things I could have done. What
do a lot of studying. Spend hours and hours and hours. Study, study, study. Talk to your officers. Make sure they understand. Talk to your witnesses again. It all just comes back to, sorry, I get this flash of seeing Matthew. I just wanted it so tight there was no way they were going to get out of it.
One of the things that happened when I got to the fence,
Reggie Flutie.
there was just an overwhelming amount of blood, you know? And we tried to wear protective gloves, but we had a really cheap sheriff at the time, and he bought us shit gloves. You know, you put them on, and they just keep breaking. So finally, you ran out of gloves. And you think to yourself, don't hesitate, you know? That's what your mind tells you all the time. Don't hesitate. So you keep moving, and you try to help Matthew, and you try to find an airway because that's what you do. You know?
The thing that I didn't tell you before is that Reggie is my daughter.
Marge Murray.
And when she first told me she wanted to be a police officer, I thought it was not a better choice for her. She could handle whatever came her way.
So, about a day and a half later, the hospital called. They told me that Matthew was positive for HIV. And they said to me, you know, you've had an exposure, and it's been a bad exposure. Because I had been building lean-tos for my llamas, and so I had a bunch of open wounds on my hand, and I was pretty much screwed. And you think, you know, oh shoot.
Would you like to talk about losing sleep?
So I went to the doctor and I said, okay, what do I do? And they told me to get up here. So I got up there and we started the AZT drugs immediately.
Now, they told me that if this medication is administered 36 hours after you've been exposed, it could maybe stop you from getting the disease.
That is a mean, nasty medicine. Mean. I lost 10 pounds and a lot of my hair. Yeah.
And I quite frankly wanted to shout at someone. And not at Matthew, please understand. Not one of us was mad at Matthew. But we maybe wanted to squeeze McKinney's head off. And I think of Henderson. You know, two absolute human beings caused so much grief for so many people. It was terrible for my whole family, but mostly for her and her kids.
I think it really drove home for my girls what their mom does for a living.
Reggie, you know what I'm going to tell you now?
Oh, and my parents? They both said the same damn thing.
You're quitting this damn job.
And it's just a parent thing, you know? Because they're terribly proud of you. Because you do a good job. Whether it's handling a drunk or handling a case like this. You just don't want you getting hurt.
Like I said, there's a right way, a wrong way, and then there's Reggie's way.
Oh, for God's sakes, Francis. Like
So stubborn.
Oh, they say I'm stubborn, but I don't believe them. I think of it this way. Okay, I've heard your opinion, and now here's mine. I am a 39-year-old woman. What are they going to do, spank me?
Reggie, don't give me any ideas.
Oh, it looked pretty funny, wouldn't it? You know, what can they say?
I just hope she doesn't go before me. I just couldn't handle that.
Philip Dubois.
Well, this is the young person who read my statement on the Denver Post and sent an email to me directly and said,
You and the straight people of Laramie and Wyoming are guilty of the beating of Matthew Shepard, just as the Germans who looked the other way are guilty of the deaths of the Jews, the Gypsies, and the homosexuals. You have taught your straight children to hate their gay and lesbian brothers and sisters, unless and until you acknowledge that Matt Shepard's beating was not just a random occurrence, not just the work of a couple of random crazies, you have Matthew's blood on your hands!
well, I can't begin to tell you what that does to you. You can't possibly know what I'm thinking, and you can't possibly know what this has done to me and my family and my community.
That first week alone, vigils for Matthew Shepard were held in Laramie, Denver, Fort Collins, and Colorado Springs. Soon after in Detroit, Chicago, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Nashville, Minneapolis, and Portland, Maine, among others. In Los Angeles, 5,000 people gathered, and in New York City, a political rally ended in civil disobedience and hundreds of arrests. And the Clear Valley Hospital website received close to 1 million viewers from all across the country, all around the world, all expressing hope for Matt to recover. Matthew Shepard medical update, 9 a.m., Sunday, October 11th.
As of 9 a.m. today, Matthew Shepard remains in critical condition. The family continues to emphasize that the media respect their privacy and would also like to thank the American public for their kind thoughts and concern for Matt.
There are certain things when I sit in church,
Jedediah Schultz.
and the Reverend said flat out that he doesn't agree with homosexuality, and I don't know, I'm still learning about myself, you know, and I just don't think I know enough about certain things to make a decision that says homosexuality is right, and you could embrace your whole life that it's wrong. And right now, I would say that I don't agree with it. Yeah, that I don't agree with it, but maybe that's just because I couldn't do it. And speaking in religious terms, I don't think that's how God intended it. But I mean, I don't hate homosexuals, and I'm not gonna like persecute them or anything like that. I mean, that's not gonna be getting in the way between me and the other person at all.
Well, Steve preached in schools that being gay is okay, and yada, yada, yada.
Conrad Miller.
And my kids ask me, I sit them down and I'll tell them, this is what gay people do. This is what the animals do, okay? And I'll sit them down and I'll tell them, of why I believe that it's wrong.
There's a lot more gay people around than what you think, Murdoch. It don't bother anybody because most of them that are gay or lesbian know damn well who to talk to. If you step out of line, you're asking for it. Some people are saying he made a pass at them. You don't pick up regular people. I'm not excusing their actions, but it made me feel a lot better knowing that it was partially Matthew Shepard's fault and partially the guys who did it. You know, maybe it is 50-50.
Yes, as a lesbian, I was more concerned for my safety.
Exactly, Tom.
I think we all were. Because somewhere inside, we all know that that could happen to any of us at any time. I'm terrified knowing that I can't walk down the street and show any sort of physical affection towards my partner because you don't do that here in Laramie.
Well, there's this whole idea. You leave me alone, I leave you alone.
Jonas Slomaker.
And it's even in some of that Western literature, you know? Live and let live. That is such crap, you know? I tell my friends, and even my gay friends say, that this is such crap. What it comes down to is, if I don't tell you I'm a fag, you won't beat the crap out of me. What's so great about that? That's a great philosophy.
We went to the candle vigil.
Zubeda Gullah.
And it was so good to be with people who felt like shit. You know, I kept feeling like I don't deserve to feel this way. And someone got up there and he said, blah, 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 blah. And he said, I'm saying it wrong. But basically he said, come on guys, let's show the world that Laramie is not this kind of a town. But it is that kind of a town. If it wasn't that kind of a town, why did this happen here? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, that's a lie, because it happened here. So how could it not be a town where that kind of thing happens? I mean, that's like looking at an Escher painting and getting all confused. Like, it's circular logic. Like, how can you even say that? And we have to mourn this. And we have to be sad that we live in a town, a state, a country where shit like this happens. I mean, these are people trying to distance themselves from this crime, and we need to own this crime. I feel everybody needs to own it. We are like this. We are like this. We are like this.
I was at the fireside bar one afternoon, and I ran into two friends of theirs in Key, Shannon and Jack.
You guys knew her as well, right?
Yeah, we both did. When I first found out what had happened, I thought it was really, really awful. I mean, I don't know if Aaron was fucked up on something, or whether he was coming down, or what. But I do know this. Matthew had money. I mean, shit, he was wearing better clothes than me. Matt was just a original bitch.
You shouldn't call him a rich bitch, though. That's not right.
All right, I'm not saying he's a bad guy or anything, you know? He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe he said some of the wrong things, you know? I mean, fuck, when I was messed up on meth, I thought robbing the place tons. I mean, I never did it, but yeah, the thought was there. It was easy money.
Aaron's done that kind of thing before. They both have. I remember one time they went up to Cheyenne to go do it and came back with probably $300. I don't know if like gay people were ever their particular targets before, but anyone that looked like they had a lot of money that they could outnumber or overpower, it's fair game.
Do you think there was homophobia and all of this?
Probably. Probably would have pissed him off that Matt was like gay because he didn't seem to like the gay people I'd seen him interact with before. But he was fine though, as long as he didn't, hit on him or anything. As long as it didn't come up.
You know, as long as they weren't doing it in front of him or anything.
You get the impression that he knew other gay people?
Well, all right, I'm sure he knew other gay people, but I mean, he worked up at the KFC, and if you know what they're serving down there, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that either. I mean, hell, I don't know, half the people I know here in Laramie are gay.
What would you guys say to Aaron if you saw him right now?
Firstly, I'd ask him if he'd still want to do it tweak.
If I could see Aaron now, I'd be like, man, why'd you fuck up like that? But I'd probably want to make sure he's doing okay in there though. I'm sure he is. I'd probably just want to like hang out with him.
Smoke a bowl with him.
If anyone would so bad.
You both went to Laramie.
Yeah, I mean, can't you tell? We're a product of our society.
On a day that is traditionally given over to nothing more than college exuberance and the University of Wyoming football team, this community on the High Plains has a different kind of homecoming Saturday, as many search their souls in the wake of a vicious, apparent anti-gay hate crime.
University President Phil Dubois.
This was homecoming week. There were a lot of people in town. There was a homecoming parade that was scheduled. The students would organize the faculty, you know, behind the banner supporting Matthew and the armband students that created.
I live in the center of town,
Harry Wood.
and my apartment has windows on two opposite sides. One goes north and one goes south. And that was the exact of the homecoming parade. Now, the day of the parade, I had a castle like from a fall. So I was very disappointed because I wanted to welcome people who are marching for Matt, but I couldn't. So I walked, and it was just, it was just. I'm 52 years old, and I'm gay. I've lived here a long time, and I've seen a lot. And I was very moved when I saw the tag at the end of the homecoming parade, about 100 people marching behind a banner from Matthew Shedd. Now, the parade went down to the end of the block to make a U-turn, so I went to the other side to wait.
I was right up there in front where they were holding the banner for Matthew, and let me tell you, I've never had goosebumps for so long in my life. It was just incredible, you know? Like, there was a mass of people, families, and mothers holding their 6-year-old kids, tying these armbands around their 6-year-old kids, and trying to explain to them why they should be wearing an armband. I mean, it was just one of the most beautiful things I'd ever done in my whole life.
Now, about 10 minutes went by, and sure enough, the parade started coming back down the street. And then, I noticed the most incredible thing. The number of people marching for Matthew had grew 5 times. There were at least 500 people marching for Matthew. And people just kept joining in. And you know what? I just started to cry. Tears were streaming down my face. And I thought, thank God I got seats in my lifetime. And my second thought was, thank you, Matthew.
I really haven't been all that involved, per se. My husband's a highway patrolman, so that's really the only way that I've known about it. Now, when I first found out, I just thought it was horrible. I mean, nobody deserves that. I don't care who you are. But the other thing that was not brought out, at the same time that happened, that patrolman was killed. And there was nothing. Nothing! They didn't say anything about the old man that killed him. He was driving down the road, and he shouldn't have been, and killed him. It was just a little piece in the paper, and we lost one of our guys. You know, my husband used to work with him. This man was brand new on the force. But, I mean, here's one of ours, and it's just a little piece in the paper. And a lot of it is my feeling that the media is portraying Matthew Shepard as a saint and making him as a martyr, but I don't think he was. I don't think he was that pure. Now, I didn't know him, but there's just so many things about him that I found out that it's scary. You know, about his character and spreading AIDS and a few other things. You know, being the kind of person that he was just a barfly, you know? And I
think he pushed himself around. I think he flaunted it. Now, everybody's got problems, but why they exemplified him, I don't know. What's the difference if you're gay? I hate crime is I hate crime. If you murder somebody, you hate them. It has nothing to do with if you're gay or a prostitute or whatever. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Company member Lee Pondikowski. It was one of the last days on our second trip to Laramie. Greg and I have been conducting interviews non-stop and we're exhausted.
We're supposed to be meeting with Father Roger tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m., but I kind of just wish that we could skip it all together. But we have to follow through this, you know, so here it goes. 7:30 a.m. to queers and a Catholic priest.
Matthew Shepard has served us well. Now, I do not mean to condemn Matthew to perfection, but I cannot think of anyone who has done more for this community than Matthew Shepard. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I was just this bold guy, no fear. I was scared. I was very vocal about this when it happened, and at one point I thought about calling a bishop and asking permission to hold the vigil. But then I decided, hell no, I'm not going to do that. Because not to knock bishops, but the bishop's permission does not make it right. What is right is right. You people are just out here for a story. So I will do this. I will trust that if you write a play, that you say it right, that you say it correct. You have an obligation to do that. Don't make things worse. You think violence is what they did to Matthew, and they did do violence to Matthew, but do you realize that every time you're called a fag, or a lettuce, or a dyke. A dyke, yes. That is violence. That is the seed of violence. And I would resent immensely if anything I said was used to cultivate that kind of violence, even in its smallest form. I would resent it immensely, and I think it's important that you know that.
Thank you, Father, for saying that.
Just deal with what is true. You know what is true. You have to do your best to save it.
Andrew Gomez. I was in there. I was in jail there in December. I got thrown over Christmas, assault, battery, 2 counts. Hey, don't want to talk about it. So, it was sitting there, you know, Christmas dinner, trying to eat my stuffing, my motherfucking bread, my little roll and whatnot. And I had to ask him, hey homie, tell me something. Why did you, okay, I was thinking how I worded this. I was like, why did you kill a faggot if you're destined to be a faggot later? You know what I mean? Think about it. And you know what he said? Honest to God, this is what he says. He goes, he tried to grab my junk. That's what he said, man. He is dumb, dog. He don't even act like it was nothing. You know what I heard? I heard that they were auctioning those boys off. You know, up in there in the Max Ward. You know, where the killers go. They heard that Aaron was coming to prison. They started auctioning those boys off. I want him to put aside 5, 6, 7 cartons of cigarettes. Auction his ass off. I'd be scared to go to prison if I was those 2 boys.
Hello?
Robert,
Yes? Hello?
I'm sure your wife told you a bit about why I'm
She did. And let me tell you, I don't want to talk to anyone about any of this incident. I am somewhat involved, and I just don't think that...
Oh, no, I completely understand, and I do not blame you. You know, I went to your services on Sunday.
You went to the service on Sunday?
Yes, I did.
On Sunday?
Yeah, this past Sunday.
Did I meet you there?
You welcomed me at the beginning, I believe.
I see. Well, let me tell you. I am not afraid to be controversial or to speak my mind, and that is not necessarily the views of my congregation per se. Now, as I said, I am somewhat involved. That the girlfriend of one of the accused is a member of our congregation, and one of the accused has visited. Now, those two have forfeited their lives. We've been after the two I mentioned for ages, trying to get them to live right, to do right. Now, one boy is on suicide watch, and I'm working with him. Until they put him in the chair and turn on the juice, I will work for his salvation. Now, I think they deserve the death penalty. I will continue to work with them spiritually.
Right.
Now, as for the victim, though I know his lifestyle was legal, let me tell you one thing. I hope that Matthew Shepard, while he was tied to that fence, had a moment to reflect on a time when someone had spoken the word of the Lord to him, and that before he slipped into that coma, had time to reflect on his lifestyle.
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate your speaking.
It was 11:30 that night. I had just barely gone to bed when Margot, our chief operating officer, she called me and she said, Matt's blood pressure has started to drop. So I said, well, let's just wait and see. We got the call about 10 after. He had just died. So I quickly got dressed and I rushed to the ICU where the family was, and Judy came up to me and I put my arms around her and she put her arms around me. And we just stood there for maybe 10 minutes. Because what else do you do? And then we had to sit down and talk about things. But just, Dennis, it's public knowledge. I have to go out there and tell the world that this happened. Because by this point, it was clear to all of us that it was the world. It was the entire world. So Judy told me what she wanted me to say, and I went out there at 4 a.m.
Matthew Shepard Day, 4:30 a.m. Monday, October 12th.
At 12 midnight on Monday, October 12th, Matthew Shepard's blood pressure began to drop. We immediately contacted his family, who were already at the hospital. At 12:53 a.m., Matthew Shepard died. His family was at his bedside. They did release the following statement. The family again asked me to express their sincerest gratitude to the entire world for the overwhelming response of their son. The family was grateful that they did not have to make a decision regarding whether or not to continue life support for their son. Like a good son, he was caring until the end and removed all guilt or stress from the family. He came into this world premature, and he left this world premature. Matthew's mother said, go home, give your kids a hug, and don't let a day go by without telling them you love them. And I don't know what happened. I lost on national television, but I had been up for 72 hours, and I had to come back in and just, in a moment of complete brain deadness, while I was reading that statement, I thought about my own 4 daughters. Go home and hug your kids and just, she doesn't have her kid anymore. And so here I am, and all I can think is, this is so lame. But then the letters started coming in, and majority of them were really kind and supportive, but I did get this one. This one letter read, "Do you cry like a baby on national television for all of your patients, or just the facts?" And as I've said, homosexuality is not a lifestyle with which I agree, but it wasn't until that moment that I realized the extent to which people hate. And again, that was only one letter. Most of them were really supportive and thank you for your caring and compassion. Matthew was caring and compassionate from the moment he got here.
I spoke with God today and told him soon we would coming back out for the upcoming trial of Russell Henderson and Aaron Mickey. And this is what he had to say.
All right, I'll tell you this, okay? If they put those 2 boys to death, it would defeat everything Matt would be thinking about on them. Because Matt wouldn't want those 2 boys to die. You want to let them live, leave them with something. Hope. H-O-P-E. You see, the whole thing here, and you see, the whole thing here, everything that's said, all of it, it all revolves around hope. H-O-P-E.
holding umbrellas everywhere. And there were two churches. One for the immediate family, invited guests, people of that nature. And then there was another church for people who just wanted to be there. And still, hundreds of people outside who couldn't fit into either of the churches. And there was this park by the church, and that's where these people were. And that park was full.
Today's liturgy comes from an Easter liturgy. It finds its meaning in the resurrection and life. The service invites your full participation. May the Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Let us pray.
And I guess it was like the worst storm that they ever had.
Tiffany Edwards.
It's just like
Like trees fell down and the power went out for a couple of days because of it. And I just thought, it's like the forces of the universe at work. Whatever higher spirit that blows storm was blowing the storm.
Let us pray to Jesus Christ, who said, I am the resurrection and life. We pray to the Lord.
Hear us, Lord.
Let us pray to Martha.
My most striking memory from the funeral. Harry Drake, Casper Star Tribute, is seeing Reverend Fred Phelps, the scene go up in the park.
Do you believe in the Bible? Do you believe you are supposed to separate the precious from the vile? You don't believe in that part of the Bible? Well then, you stand ignorant to the fact that for every 2 times, for every verse, it mentions God's love. It also mentions God's hate.
A bunch of high school kids who got out early started yelling at the people in the protest, the Fred Phelps people, and a bunch of people were lining up for the funeral. Well, I remember this guy. I remember this skinhead coming over, and he was in leather and spikes everywhere, and he started coming into the crowd, and I just thought, oh, this is going to be a really ugly confrontation, but instead he started leading them in Amazing Grace.
We would not be here if this was just another murder the state was going to deal with. The state deals with hundreds of murders every single day. What makes this one different? What makes this one different is the fact that the fags are trying to turn Matthew Shepard into some kind of poster boy for their gay lifestyle. And we are here to answer it. It is just that simple.
6 months later, the company returned to Laramie for trial in Russell Henderson, the first of the 2 perpetrators. When they arrived at the Albany County Courthouse, Fred Phelps was already there.
You don't like that attribute of God.
But so was Romaine Patterson.
Well, we love that attribute of God because God's hatred is pure. It's a determination. It's a determination that He is going to send some people to hell. That is God's hatred.
After seeing Fred Phelps protesting at Matthew's funeral, and then finding out that he was coming to Laramie for the trial of Russell Henderson, I decided that someone needed to stand toe-to-toe with this guy and show him the differences. And I feel like when we're talking about hatred, as much as this nation is right now, that someone needs to stand up and show that there is a better way of dealing with that kind of hatred. So, our idea is to dress up as angels. And so we have designed an angel costume. Our wings are huge. They're like these big-ass wings. And there'll be 10 to 20 of us doing this. And our plan is to encircle Phelps. And because of our wings, we're going to completely block him. So this big-ass band of angels walks in. We don't say a fucking word. We just turn our backs to him and stand there. And we are a group of people bringing forward a message of love and peace and compassion. And we're calling it angel action. So yeah, this 21-year-old little lesbian is ready to walk the line with him.
When those old preachers lay their hands on me, it is called an ordination. And when they do so, they deliver a charge. Mine was Isaiah 58:1. Cry out, speak aloud, lift thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions.
And I knew that my angels were going to be taking the brunt of everything he had to yell and say. I mean, we were going to be blocking his view, and he was going to be, like, pissed off to all hell. So I went out, and I bought all my angels earplugs.
The court is in session.
Romaine Patterson's sister, Trish Stecker.
So as soon as I started jury selection, a lot of people were coming to my shop with, I don't want to be called. I really hope that they don't select me for this trial. Or, oh no, I've been called. How do I get off? Just wanted to be very far, far away from this as possible, being very fearful that they would get selected for this trial. And I hear that Henderson had to sit in the courtroom while they questioned their respective jurors. And one of the questions was, are you willing to put this man to death? And I believe that a lot of the comments were, yes, I would.
entered a not guilty plea earlier, Mr. Henderson, but I understand you wish to change your plea today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand that the recommended sentence here is 2 life sentences.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that those may run concurrently or they may run consecutively?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Henderson, I will now ask you how you wish to plead. Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Before the court decides whether the sentences be concurrent or consecutive, I understand that there are statements to be made by at least one individual.
The following is an excerpt of a statement by Lucy Thompson.
As the grandmother and person who raised Russell, along with my family, we have written the following statement. Our hearts ache for the pain and suffering that the shepherds have went through. We have prayed for your family since the very beginning. I myself have often thought about Matthew throughout the day, and he will continue to be in our thoughts and prayers as we know that your pain and suffering will never end. We are so grateful for the chance that you've given us to have this plea, and you have showed us so much mercy in giving us all this opportunity to live. Your Honor, we ask that as you sentence Russell, you will do it for 2 life sentences concurrently. For the Russell that we know and love, we humbly plead, Your Honor, that you will not take him out of our lives completely and forever. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Henderson, you have the constitutional right to make a statement if you wish to do so. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. and Mrs. Shepherd, there is not a moment that goes by that I do not remember, that I do not relive what happened that night. I hope that one day you will find it in your hearts to forgive me. Your Honor, I greatly apologize and regret what I did, and I am ready to pay my debt for it, whatever it might be.
Mr. Henderson, you drove the vehicle that took Matthew Shepard to his death. You bound him to that fence in order that he might be more savagely beaten, and in order that he might not escape to tell the tale. You left him out there for 18 hours, knowing full well that he was there, perhaps having the opportunity to save his life, and you did nothing. Mr. Henderson, this court does not believe you really feel any true remorse for your part in this matter, and I wonder whether you fully realize the gravity of what you've done. The court finds it appropriate, therefore, that sentence be ordered as follows. As to count 3, felony murder with robbery, you are to serve a period of imprisonment for the term of your natural life. On count 1, kidnapping, that you serve a period of imprisonment for the term of your natural life. Sentencing for count 1 to run consecutive to sentencing for count 3.
After the hearing, we spoke with Russell Henderson's former home teacher.
I've known Russell's family for 38 years. Russell was only 21, so I've known him his entire life. I ordained him a priest of a Mormon church, so when this happened, as you can imagine, disbelief. After the sentencing, the church held a disciplinary council, and the result of that meeting was to excommunicate Russell from the church. And what that means is that your name is taken off the records of the church and you just disappear. Russell's reaction to that was not positive. It hurt him, and it hurt him too to realize how serious a transgression we can be. But I will not desert Russell. That was a matter of my religion and my friendship with the family.
Before we left Laramie, we met again with Rebecca Telegraph and David Department. She's producing Angels in America this year at the university.
I think that's the focus the university is taken, is that we have a lot of work to do. And we have an obligation to find ways to reach our students. And the question is, how do we move? How do you reach a whole state that has deep-rooted hostility towards gay people? How do you do it?
Angels in America, and I told them the whole list of plays. And they were like, Angels in America, is that show you did in high school, that scene you did in high school? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, well, are you going to audition for it? And I'm like, yeah. And we got into this huge argument, and the best thing that I knew I had on this was just after they'd seen me in a performance of Macbeth. And on stage, I murdered a little kid, and Lady Macbeth, and these two other guys, and she's going, well, homosexuality is a sin. She kept saying that. So I go, Mom, I just played a murderer tonight, and you didn't seem to have any problem with that. I tell you, I've never prepared myself for an audition this much in my life. Never, ever, not even close.
Not having much to do with the gay society here at Laramie.
Detective Sergeant Roger.
Well, once we started working into the case and actually speaking to the gay people and finding out what their underlying fears were, well, it all sort of started to hit home. This is America. You don't have the right to feel that kind of fear. And there will still be people with the same old ideals. If I'm gonna be honest, I was probably one of them 14 months ago. But I don't have to listen to it. I don't have to put up with it. The door goes both ways. I've already lost a couple of buddies to it. I don't care. In the end, I just feel more comfortable and I can sleep at night.
So, you're tested about every 3 weeks, Reggie Flutie. And I was lucky enough to get the DNA test done. So they drove me out to Fort Collins, and they drew blood there, that they flew to Michigan. And then, about a week later, I knew I was negative for good.
Oh, I tell ya, we were all on our knees saying, Hail Mary!
You were just elated, you know? And you think, thank God.
What's the first thing she does?
Oh, I put my tongue right in my husband's mouth. I was just so happy, you know? And I thought to myself, I hope I did this service with some kind of integrity, you know? And my girls, oh, they just bawled.
They were so happy.
Oh, and the force? We went out and got shit-faced. It was so great. They all bought me drinks too, and we hugged and cried, and I kissed every person that walked through that bar door.
I bet you don't need to know that part.
I didn't care if they were male or female. Everyone who walked through that door got a kiss, right on the mouth.
And what part did I just say? Didn't you understand?
Oh, get over it, Ma.
Almost a year to the day of Matthew's death. The trial for Aaron McKinney is set. Well, I'm sure the question most of you probably have is how the McKinney case will proceed. Cal Baruca, prosecuting attorney. And it is the decision of the county attorney's office that is definitely a death penalty case.
Part of me wants McKinney to get it. But I'm not very proud of that. I was on and off and off and on. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm too personally involved.
I 100% believe in the death penalty because I want to make sure that this guy's ass dies. This is the one instance where I truly believe in an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth.
I don't know about the death penalty, but I don't ever want to see their ass walk out of Rollins Penitentiary. I'll pay my nickel or whatever, my little percentage of the tax, a nickel a day to make sure his ass stays in there and never sees society again. And definitely never comes into my bar again.
I don't believe in the death penalty. It's too much for me. I don't believe one person should be killed for revenge for killing another. Two wrongs don't make a right.
How can I protest if the shepherds want McKinney dead? I just can't interfere in that. But on a personal level, I knew Aaron in grade school. We never called him Aaron, we called him AJ. How can you put AJ McKinney to death?
I think our most important teachers must be Aaron McKinney and Russell Henderson. They have to be our teachers. How did you learn? What did we, as a society, do to teach you that? And I don't think many people are willing to let them be our teachers. I think it would be wonderful if the judge said, in addition to your sentence, you must tell your story.
All rise. The State of Wyoming versus Aaron James McKinney. Docket number 6381. The Honorable Barton R. Boyd is presiding. This court is now in session.
During the trial of Aaron McKinney, a tape of his confession was played.
My name is Rob DeBree, Sergeant of the Sheriff's Office. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and may be used against you in the court of law.
The following is an excerpt of that confession.
All right. So, you guys, you and Russ, we're at the fireside. You're at the fireside by yourselves, right?
Yeah.
All right. Where do you guys go after you leave the fireside?
Some kid wanted to ride home.
What's he look like?
Like a queer. Such a queer.
Looks like a queer.
Yeah, like a fag, you know?
All right. When did you meet him?
Well, the kid wanted to ride home, and I just thought, well, this dude's drunk. Let's take him home.
Okay. When did you and Russ talk about jacking him up?
We kind of talked about it at the bar.
Okay. What happened next?
Well, we drove out past Walmart, and that's when he starts grabbing my leg and trying to grab my genitals. And I'm like, look, I'm not a fucking faggot. You touch me again, you're gonna get it. And that's when I beat him up. I think I might have killed him.
Okay. What'd you beat him with?
My fist and the pistol, the butt of the gun.
Okay. What was the first thing that he said that he did to you in the truck that made you hit him?
Well, he put his hand on my leg and slid it down like he was going to grab my balls.
When I heard that McKinney did what he did to Matthew just because he tried to make a pass at him, I just wanted to vomit because that's like saying that it's okay. It's like the Twinkie defense. When that guy tried to kill Harvey Milk in Moscow, it's the same thing.
As much as a part of me didn't want the defense side of them saying that it was gay bashing or gay panic, part of me was glad. Because I thought they were going to say it was a robbery or it was drug related. But when they said gay bashing, I thought, this is good. If anything, the truth will be told. The truth is coming out. All right. Did he ever try to defend himself against you or hit you back?
Well, yeah, sort of. He tried his little swings, but they weren't really working for him.
All right. How many times did you hit him before you guys stopped where you left him?
I don't know. 2, 3 times. Probably 3 times and about like 6 times with a pistol.
All right. Did he ask you to stop?
Yeah, he was getting the shit kicked out of him.
What did he say?
Well, after he asked me to stop, all he was doing was screaming.
All right. So, Russ, I'm assuming, dragged him over to the fence and tied him up.
Yeah, Russ was laughing at first, but then he got pretty scared afterward.
Was Matthew conscious when Russ was tying him up?
Yeah, I told him to turn around because we got scared to tell the cops. So then I told him to try to read my license plate. He did, and that's when I had to beat him up a couple more times.
All right, just to be clear. So you don't like gay people?
No, I don't.
Well, would you say you hate them?
I wouldn't say I hate them. It just gets pretty aggravating when all of them just keep trying to flirt with you. Like,
I mean, did he threaten you?
is that a gay dude?
Yeah.
No, of course not.
All right. Answer me one more thing, Mr. McKinney. How'd you take his shoes?
I don't know. I'll never see my son.
I don't know. You'll probably go to court sometime today.
Today. So I'm just going to walk in there, plead guilty or not guilty.
No. This is the arraignment.
Is he going to die for sure?
There is no doubt in my mind that Mr. Shepard will die.
So what are they going to give me? 20 to life or the death penalty just to get it over with?
It's not our job. It's the judges and juries.
Has the jury reached a verdict? We have, Your Honor. we, the jury, impaneled and sworn to try the above entitled case after hearing the well and truly tried the matter, unanimously find as follows. As to the charge of kidnapping, we find the defendant, Aaron James McKinney, guilty. As to the charge of aggravated robbery, we find the defendant, Aaron James McKinney, guilty. As to the charge of first-degree felony murder, kidnapping, we find the defendant, Aaron James McKinney, guilty. As to the charge of first-degree felony murder, robbery, we find the defendant, Aaron James McKinney, guilty. As to the charge of premeditated first-degree murder, we find the defendant, Aaron James McKinney, not guilty. And as to the lesser-included offense of second-degree murder, we find the defendant, Aaron James McKinney, guilty.
Aaron McKinney was found guilty of felony murder, which meant the jury could give him the death penalty. That evening, Judy and Dennis Shepard were approached by McKinney's defense team, who pled for their client's life. The prosecution indicated that they would defer to the family's wishes as to whether or not to pursue the death penalty. The next morning, Dennis Shepard made a statement to the court. Here is some of what he said.
My son Matthew did not look like a winner. He was rather uncoordinated and wore braces from the age of 13 until the day he died. However, in his all too brief life, my son proved that he was a winner. On October 6th, 1998, my son tried to show the world that he could win again. On October 12th, 1998, my firstborn son and my hero lost. On October 12th, 1998, my firstborn son and my hero died. 50 days before his 22nd birthday. I keep wondering, the same thing I was wondering when I first saw him in that hospital room. What would he have become? How would he have changed his piece of the world to make it better? Matt officially died in a hospital in Fort Collins, Colorado. He actually died on the outskirts of Laramie, tied to a fence. You, Mr. McKinney, and your friend, Mr. Henderson, left him out there all by himself. But he was not alone. He had his friends with him, friends that he had known his whole life. You're probably wondering who these friends were. I'll tell you now. First, he had the sun shining down on him. Then, he had the beautiful night sky and all the moon and stars that we had seen through the telescope. And through it all, he was breathing in the scent of pine trees from the snowy range. And he heard the ever-present Wyoming wind for the last time. He had one more friend with him. He had God. And I feel better knowing that my son wasn't alone. Matt's beating, hospitalization, and funeral focused worldwide attention on hate. Good coming out of evil. People have said enough is enough. I miss my son, but I am proud to say that he is my son. Matt has been quoted as being against the death penalty. Judy has also been stated as being against the death penalty. Both of these statements are wrong. Matt believes that there was some crime, some incidents that justified the death penalty. I, too, believe in the death penalty. I would like nothing more than to see you die, Mr. McKinney. However, now is the time to begin the healing process, to show mercy to someone who refused to show any mercy. Mr. McKinney, I grant you life, as hard as it is for me to do so, because of Matthew. Every time you celebrate Christmas, a birthday, the 4th of July, just remember that Matthew isn't. Every day, when you wake up in that prison cell, just remember that you had the ability to stop your actions that night. Mr. McKinney, you have robbed me of something so precious, and I will never forgive you for that. But Mr. McKinney, I grant you life in the memory of someone who no longer lives. May you live a long life, and may you thank Matthew for that life every day.
Proud Degree and I hugged and cried. Everyone had tears in their eyes, and Mr. Shepherd started falling, and that got me going, and everyone just...
This has been our case daily. We've lived and breathed this case daily. But now it's over.
Maybe now we can move on, you know? Stop feeling stuck.
It just hit me. The moment that I got out of the courthouse, that the reason that God wanted me to find him is so that he didn't have to die out there alone, you know? If I hadn't come along when I did, they probably would have found him for a couple weeks at least. So it makes me feel really good knowing that he didn't have to die out there alone.
I'm just glad it's over. I really am. Testifying in that court was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And don't get me wrong, I love the stage, I really do love it, but it's kind of tricky when you have lawyers from one side questioning you, and then answers that you're supposed to funnel towards a jury. So that's tricky for me, because I'm a natural conversationalist. It's just instinct that if you ask me a question, I'm going to look you in the eye. But what you have to do is establish a funneling system. So it's kind of tricky when you literally have to scoot over, change positions, and then funnel your answers towards the jury. But I was able to do that successfully several times throughout my testimony.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace that fears relieve. How precious did that grace appear, was blind, but now I see.
On our last trip, I had the great fortune of seeing Jedediah Schultz play the role of Crier in Angels in America. After the performance this week,
I didn't, for the longest time, let myself become personally involved in the Matthew Shepard thing. It didn't seem real. It just seemed way blown out of proportion. Matthew Shepard was just a name instead of an individual. I don't know. It's weird. It's so weird. And I just feel bad. Just for all that stuff I told you for the person I used to be. That's why when I hear those interviews from last year, I can't believe I ever said that stuff about homosexuals, you know? How did I ever let that stuff make me think that you were different from me?
Well, a year ago, I wanted to be a rock star. That was my big goal. And now, well, obviously that's changed in me discovering my role in taking part. So instead of going to school for music, like I was gonna, I'm going to change my major to communications and political science because I have a career in political activism. In fact, I'm being honored in Washington, D.C. by the Anti-Defamation League, which is crazy. And whenever I think of any of the speaking I've done, the angels, the nonviolent protests, you know, Matthew gave me. Matthew's guiding like this little path for me with his
And whenever we get to a door or a fork in the road, he says, okay, you can take the next step. And if I get to be a rock star on the side, okay. This is Jonas Lundberg.
Change is not an easy thing, and I don't think most people are up to it here. But no, the boys got what they deserved. They were thrown in jail. The OK Corral. The prostitutes were sent on the train, and we don't need to talk about this anymore. It's been a year since Matthew Shepard died, and they haven't passed shit in Wyoming. Nothing at a town level or state level, no legislature, nothing. What's come out of this that's good? What's come out of this that's long-lasting or concrete?
We all said we'd meet up again one last time.
I've been up to that spot when I was in, okay? And while he was up there, I remember that trip Matt and I took down to Fort Collins together. I remember he said to me, "Laramie really sparkles, doesn't it?" And from up there, if you sit where he was sitting, if you sit in that exact spot, Laramie sparkles from there. You see, it's this low-lying cloud, and it's the blue lights from the airport, and it bounces off of it, and it just goes tss, 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 across the whole city. And I mean, it just blows you away. And I can just picture what he was seeing, you know? I can just picture it in his eyes. The last thing Matt ever saw on this earth were his sparkling lights.
We spent the last 2 days packing a year's worth of materials and saying goodbye. We've been to Laramie 6 times and conducted over 200 interviews. Jedediah cried when he said goodbye.
Marge wished us luck, and when we asked her how Laramie would feel about seeing a play about himself, she said,
I think we enjoy it, you know? The show is not the hellhole of the earth will be nice. But that's up to how you portray us. And in that turn, it's up to how Laramie behaves.
As we were getting off the phone, she said to me,
Now you take care. I love you, honey.
Doc asked me if I wanted to ghostwrite a book about the whole event. And Galloway offered me, or anyone, a place to stay if or when we come back to Laramie. And he kind of seemed interested if there was any audition for the show.
We left Laramie at about 7 in the morning, and on our way to Denver, I took a look at my river here to do one last look at town.
And I will trust that if you write a play of this, that you say it correct.
And in the distance, I could see the sparkling lights